Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and I've got a fun collab with Meals with Maria today, all about crockpot recipes for your Thanksgiving. You are gonna wanna watch this first recipe that I'm sharing if you have a smaller group that is joining you for Thanksgiving, or if you have a really large group and just one turkey isn't quite enough. Plus, I'm gonna give you an idea for leftovers. So let's get started. Growing up in a larger family, one turkey at Thanksgiving wasn't quite enough to get everybody fed and have some leftovers, because let's face it, what's Thanksgiving without leftovers? So my mom would cook one entire turkey, and then she would also cook an additional turkey breast. Yes, you can buy just the turkey breast, boneless or bone-in. You can buy them frozen, and I am actually cooking a bone-in turkey breast in the slow cooker today. I did a rough chop of some carrots, some onions, and some celery, and I put those in the bottom of the slow cooker. And then I took my turkey breast, it thawed in the refrigerator for a couple of days, and I put that breast side up, so cavity side down, in the slow cooker. And that's actually one of the great things about having those roughly chopped veggies, is you can kind of use them around the turkey to balance it in your slow cooker. You can season this however you like to season your turkey. I kept it pretty simple, and I used a couple of teaspoons of rosemary, thyme, and garlic salt, and then a teaspoon each of paprika and onion powder. I spread some olive oil over the turkey breast and then rubbed the seasoning all over the tops and the sides. I'm not super worried about the bottom because a lot of the fat and juices are going to cook down through that turkey breast. I popped that into my slow cooker and then remembered that I was gonna put a few pats of butter over the top of it as well. So I got that on there before it had been cooking very long, and mine is going on low. I'm gonna check on that after about 5 or 6 hours and use a meat thermometer to make sure that it's cooked to the right internal temperature. My mom liked to do this because we had a lot of people who liked the white meat for the turkey, so it gave us extra white meat than what was on the full turkey. And like I said, because one turkey wasn't quite enough to produce the amount of meat that we wanted for Thanksgiving and for leftovers, but 2 turkeys was a little too much. So if you're looking for that kind of sweet spot in between, throwing in a turkey breast into your slow cooker can kind of bridge that gap for you. Or maybe you have a smaller group that you are entertaining for Thanksgiving. Maybe it's just a few people that are gonna be around your Thanksgiving table and you really don't want a whole turkey. It would take like maybe too long to eat through that. Or maybe you just, aren't a huge turkey fan and just like to have it on the day and then not have a whole bunch left over. This is an option for that as well. I am going to make just some very simple versions of the traditional Thanksgiving sides to go along with this tonight. So I'm gonna make some mashed potatoes and probably some green beans, and I am also gonna make some stuffing, and that I am going to get going in one of my other slow cookers right now. I have about half an onion and then 3 stalks of celery chopped that I am sauteing in 1 stick of butter. It's on the saute function here in my multifunction slow cooker. And I am taking a shortcut tonight, and I'm just using a box stuffing mix. I know, you can come at me. We're not huge stuffing fans in this house anyway, and I'm just, taking a shortcut tonight so that we can have it along with the turkey. And I think what I'm gonna do when these are starting to soften and get translucent is add the water, about 2½ cups, and then add my 2 boxes of stuffing mix and stir that all together. I'll pop the lid back on and I'll turn this down to the low slow cook setting and just kind of keep an eye on it. I'm thinking it's probably going to take about 1.5 hours to 2 hours to cook on low, but we'll check back in on it after I do all that. Here's a question for you. Do you call it stuffing or dressing? I grew up in a household that called it dressing. I don't know if it has something to do with the way that it's used, like whether it's used in actually cooking the turkey or it's used as a side dish for the turkey, if that determines whether it's called stuffing or dressing, or if it's just 2 different names for the same thing. But we always called it dressing. But when I was researching cooking stuffing in the crock pot, and there were lots of ideas for making it from scratch instead of using the box mix like I did, so you can look that up. One of the suggestions was to take the lid off for about 30 minutes or so during the last part of the cooking cycle and turn the heat up a little bit, and that would give you like some of the crispy stuffing edges that you might see if you were, making it in the oven or a different way. So I'm trying that out right now. One of the great things about being a YouTuber is getting to know other YouTubers and getting to collaborate with them. And I am working with one of those awesome people people today. Her name is Maria, and her channel is Meals with Maria. And Maria and I have collaborated before, but if you have not checked out her channel, you need to. As soon as you are done watching this video, go and check her out. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Maria is a wife, and she's a mom to 3 boys, and so she's cooking in a family kitchen, and she makes all kinds of cooking videos. Everything from budget meals to crock pot meals to quick and easy meals, breakfast, lunches, snacks, sides, dinners. She even has some really fun retro throwback recipe videos. Basically, there's something for everybody over on her channel. She's very relatable. She is, like I said, a mom cooking in a family kitchen. So if you like my content, you're gonna love hers. And I will leave her channel linked in the description box below. She is also cooking up some tasty things for Thanksgiving or for any meal. So thank you again to Maria for collabing with me on today's video. Be sure to go and check her out. You can, if you want to crisp up the skin on the turkey breast, remove it from the crock pot, put it in a pan, and then pop it under the broiler for a few minutes. And then I just finished this meal up by making a really simple gravy from the drippings from the turkey breast and a little bit of milk and cornstarch. And everybody is so excited to dig into this. It's just kind of like a little mini Thanksgiving tonight. If I'm being honest, one of the real reasons I wanted to make that turkey breast and kind of a mini Thanksgiving dinner last night was so that I could utilize some leftovers for a recipe or two. I was at my parents' house last week, and when I'm there, I like to look through my mom's old recipe box because she has recipes that she has held on to for decades that have been given to her by various and sundry people, or that she has asked for when she has visited someplace and discovered a recipe that she really liked. This is the one I was looking for. It is for a turkey chowder. And I remember my mom making this 1 or 2 days after Thanksgiving every year when I was growing up. So I'm gonna use this as a guideline, but I'm gonna, make a few changes, kind of make it my own. And we're gonna make some turkey chowder with some of the leftovers from last night's meal. One of the things my mom and I were laughing about as we looked at this is that obviously something was spilled on it, but we could still decipher all of the ingredients except this one. I think it looks like 1 tablespoon of wine, but why would it call for just 1 tablespoon of wine? Typically when wine is in a recipe, it would be like half a cup or so, and there's no directions. So mom did not remember there being wine in this recipe, but I mean, it looks like coins. We couldn't figure out what this word is. So if you have any ideas, leave me a comment below. My mom always made this on the stove, but I'm gonna do it in the slow cooker. So I have it on the saute setting, and I melted 4 tablespoons of butter, and I'm sauteing half an onion, 1 stalk of celery chopped, and then about 2 cups of carrots grated. And I remember mom telling me that one of the reasons that she didn't love this recipe is because of having to grate all the carrots. You can actually buy them pre-grated, but I had some in the fridge, so I just grated them up. And I probably only have about 1.5 cups of carrots. I've been sauteing those for about 4 minutes. They're getting translucent. So now I'm going to stir in 1/4 cup of flour. I am seasoning this with thyme, rosemary, and parsley, about 1 teaspoon of each. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And mom's recipe calls for Worcestershire. I'm not sure why. I don't see very many poultry recipes that call for this, but I don't know. We'll put it in. About 1 teaspoon. 2 cups of my leftover turkey chopped up. I just eyeballed it. I used the bone from the turkey breast to make broth earlier today, just with some vegetables and seasoning in that bone, and it made about 2 quarts. So that is what I'm pouring in now. And this is significantly more than my mom's recipe calls for because we're gonna add noodles later. So I wanna have lots of broth in there. I'm getting a late start, so I'm gonna put this on high, and we'll check on it here in a couple of hours and come back and add some more stuff to it. Another recipe I discovered in mom's recipe box while I was there that I thought looked interesting and very seasonal is a spiced bundt cake recipe, and it has like an orange glaze on it. And can we take a minute to just appreciate the fact that people used to type out their recipe cards? I mean, they would have had to put this into a typewriter and type it up. And there are multiple cards like that in my mom's recipe box. But I will pop up on the screen here the ingredients for this cake. It looks really easy. It starts with a box mix, a spice cake mix. I had to go to Target to find mine because Walmart was out, but I did see on Pinterest that you can sort of create a dupe of a spice cake mix starting with a yellow cake mix and then some seasonings from your pantry if you can't find spice cake mix. Into my bowl is going 1 spice cake mix, 1 box of instant butterscotch pudding. Ooh, that smells good. 1 cup of water, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 4 eggs. And the original recipe does not call for it, but I'm gonna throw in about 1/2 cup of sour cream because this is, oops, a little bit of carrot there. Come on, there we go. Making a mess. I'm making a mess. Where was I? Sour cream. Yeah. My favorite cake recipe, this is really similar. Box of cake mix, box pudding mix, 4 eggs. It calls for sour cream, so I'm gonna put a little in because I think it'll make the cake really moist. Mix, mix, mix. Somebody who wasn't me cleaned this pan. Grease the pan. Grease the pan. Pour the batter. Pour the batter. Lick the spoon. Lick the spoon. What do we think just below 350 means? Do we think that means 340? Does it mean 325? I'm not sure. The cake is in the oven at 345 degrees. And the directions say 35 minutes, but bundt cakes usually take longer than that for me. So I'll check on it at 35 minutes, but usually they take more like 45 to 50 for me. I just do the toothpick thing or kind of watch to see when the top isn't jiggling anymore. When it starts pulling away from the sides of the pan, you probably have a trick for when you know when your cakes are done. The icing is a glaze that is made from 1 1/3 cup of powdered sugar and 5 tablespoons of orange juice. You just mix that together and then you pour it over the top of the warm cake after you remove it from the pan. After my soup had simmered on high for about 2.5 hours, I added about 8 ounces or half a bag of egg noodles and then popped the lid back on for about 20 minutes. And so my noodles are now done, and honestly, I mean, you could eat it like this if you don't want to add anything else. Mom's recipe originally called for milk because she made it on the stove, but I don't really use milk in Crockpot recipes. I want to add dairy at the end, and if I'm adding it at the end, I want to add something a little bit more potent like heavy whipping cream. So I'm going to add about half a cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup of whipping cream, stir that in. I'm going to pop the lid back on and just let that heat back through. Mom's recipe did not call for the noodles. It was just the turkey and the vegetables. And it called for a cup of cheese, like shredded cheese that you stir into it at the end, and then we always ate it with crackers. I always felt like there was something missing from it, so I guess that's why I decided to add the noodles. It's almost like a chicken noodle soup, but with turkey. Instead of stirring in the cheese, I'm just gonna serve it alongside, and anybody who wants to add it on top can. I'm not sure if it really needs it. I mean, I guess you can decide that. Of course, you can still have crackers with it, but I just think it feels like a more complete meal with the noodles. But if you wanted to leave the noodles out, maybe reduce the amount of broth that you cook it in and serve it with crackers instead. Stir in the cheese at the end. That's the way that my mom made it when we were kids growing up. A few things I want to mention. First of all, make that cake recipe. Okay, it was so easy. It was delicious. I'm glad I added the sour cream. It came out really moist. I will say that I ended up having to use closer to 2 cups of powdered sugar than the 1 1/3 that it recommended just to get it the right consistency, but it was delicious. It did not even last 12 hours in this house. We ate most of it last night and the kids took the last couple pieces in their lunch today. Secondly, the soup, delicious. And I have to say, as much as I said I didn't think it needed the cheese, it actually was better with the cheese stirred in. So I guess you can still serve it on the side, but I do think it was better when I stirred in a little bit of cheese into my bowl. What are you making for Thanksgiving in your crock pot? Leave me a comment and let me know. And don't forget to check out Maria's channel. It's in the description box. If you are here from Maria's channel, I hope you will stick around. You can check out one of these videos to watch next, or you can hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss one in the future.